Hello everyone, today we're going to work on a weapon swap system, sort of like Half-Life, Quake. So I have two weapons at the moment and I can swap between them, but it will only pick the two slots that actually have a weapon in. So we're going to implement that in Unreal. So we're back in Unreal. We are using my previous FPS project, the one with the tilt. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the player character. So I'm opening it here. And we want to create a variable that will hold all the weapons. So because I'm going to use like a weapon based system, so we have one weapon base and all weapons will feed off it. I'm going to create that now. I'm not going to do anything with the weapons in this tutorial. I'm just going to set up the swap system, and then once I make the video for how the system works, that's when that'll come in. So I'm just going to create a new folder called weapons. I'm going to create a base weapon for now. So it's going to be a actor. It's going to be BP underscore weapon base. So this will hold all the variables and everything of the different weapons. And then we can create a child of this. So we create one weapon base and then we just create child of everything. So for the only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually create a variable for the name of the weapon, just so I can show something. That will be a string. Actually, we'll do a text. And we'll compile and save that. We don't really need to do anything else in here. We could name this, we just call it weapon base. Like this. And we're going to create a child, call this BP underscore pistol, and then another child we'll call BP underscore shotgun. So if I go into pistol, we have the name up here. I can call this one pistol, compile, save, and then the same for the shotgun. So shotgun. Okay, perfect. So we're going to actually create a weapon array. So I'll call this weapons. And the variable type will be BP underscore weapon base, and it will be a class reference. Compile and save. And we also need to come and click this little drop down and set it to an array. So now what this will do, it can hold elements. So depending how many weapons you want in your game. So say for my game, I want 7 because 0 is a number. So it's like, if you can imagine it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You always have to remember that 0 is a valid index number. And what we can do is we can by default, so index 0 will by default will have a pistol. Okay. So the next thing will be we will make a print string. So we'll do we'll do it on event tick just to show. On event tick, we are going to get this, and then we're going to have another variable, which will be an integer, and we'll call this current weapon index. This doesn't need to be a array; it can be a single. So okay. By default, it'll be 0, which is perfect. So what we can do is we can grab the index. From the weapons, we can do get. And we can get the current weapon index like this. And then we can, oops, from this here, we can pull off and get defaults. And then we have the name. So we can do a print string. And we can put it in. And I'm going to set the key so that for this, instead of, so if I show it now, see how it's spamming the screen with hello? If I set a key here, it will only do it once and it will constantly do it here. So this is how you can display multiple things. So if I have like hello, and then here we could do world and give it a key of 2. Now we have both showing at the same time. So we're going to put that in there. So now if we play, we can see that it's the pistol. But so we want to do on scroll, we want to change between the different weapons. I do actually need to add another weapon here. So I will add this in index 3, shotgun. In your game, the way you would probably do it is when you overlap with a weapon or interact, you would get this weapon index and then you would add unique. Or you would, if you want it to only go in a certain one, you would set the array element and then you would assign the number you want to pick here. So, for example, if I do keyboard 1 here, on pressed, index 0, which is currently pistol, I can set that to shotgun. And now if I press play and press 1, it swaps to the shotgun. So that's how you would do it for making sure the weapon goes into the correct place. But for now, we don't need that. So the next thing we want to do is find a way to swap between the array elements for like changing weapon. So we're going to do it on mouse wheel, because the other way, which is the pressing numbers, is easy to do because it's just you do. Well, I'll show that after. I'll show that way to do it. But for now, so we're going to create a function which is going to call scroll weapon up, and we need scroll weapon down. We're going to have an input which will be the weapon array, which will be here actually, and then let's remove that. So what we do here, whenever this is called, we're going to set the current weapon index, and we're going to get the current index plus 1, put that in. We're going to do a branch, and the condition of this branch is going to be if the current index is greater than the weapon length, so how long the array is. And if it's true, we're going to set the current index to 0. So we're going to loop back on ourselves. So if we have 7 weapons, we get to the 7th and we scroll down again, we're going to go back. Oh, this is down. I meant to do this on up. Let me change this and do it in the correct one. There we go. So if we have 7 weapons and we're at the 7th and we scroll up, we will jump back to 0. Okay. From the false, we need a branch. The condition of this, we're going to get the weapon index, the weapon array. We're going to get the current weapon index, and we're going to do a get. And we're going to actually check to see if this index is empty. So we can do an equals, and then we can leave it blank. So it will check if the slot we are querying is empty. We put that in the branch. So we can do, if it's false, then we will do our system to swap the weapons over, like change what it will be. So for here, we can just do a print string, and then like new weapon, like that. We can do has weapon in here. For the true, which means that the slot is actually empty, we will do a for loop with break. And the last index, the first index will be 0. The last index will be the weapon length. Okay, the loop body is going to be a branch, and that will be basically the same we have here. So we can copy this over, paste it in, but we want not equal. So we want to make sure that we're looking for a weapon slot that is not equal. That's what this is. If you want to find it, it's exclamation mark equal. Oh, there we go. And it's the not equals. So from this, if it's true, we can we have found a weapon, so we can swap. It's false. We're going to do a plus plus. That's minus. No, using a range keyboard. We're going to increment the int. So the int will be the current weapon index. From this is where once we've found the weapon, we want to break the loop, so we don't need to continue. This part here, we're going to do another branch, and we want to check now if this value is greater than the length of the weapon index again. For length. Yep. And if it is, we're actually going to set the index to 0. So if we check now, I haven't actually implemented it. So to implement this, we want to add the weapon scroll, the input action. The way we're going to do this, we're actually going to make a new input. So we're going to go to first person, input, actions. I'm just going to take shoot and duplicate it. IA_weapon swap. Let's go in and just, oh, that's a different one. We want this. We don't want a digital bool. We want an access 1D float. The trigger is fine. Yep. And then we can save this. We can now go into the input for the default at the IMC. Add a new one. We can IA_weapon swap. So in here, we just want to assign it. So we can click on this and we can just scroll. And now we have this input. We can call it. We can say IA_weapon swap. So this part here, we want to do a branch on started. And the action value we're going to say is greater than 0, just so we know which way we're scrolling. If it is greater than 0, we're going to call scroll weapon up. If it's not, we'll call scroll weapon down, which we still need to make. So now if we try, so we're scrolling and it's only finding the slots that have the weapons, basically. Doesn't really help. So it's pistol, shotgun, pistol, shotgun, pistol. So it's not going through the empty ones. So if I now do the scroll weapon down, scroll weapon down is basically the same, just in reverse. So the current weapon index, we're going to set. We're going to get the current weapon index, and we're going to minus 1. This. Minus 1. We're going to check if it's less than 0. We're going to branch. And branch. If it is less than 0, we're actually going to we're going to set on the true. So we're going to get the weapon index. Instead of setting it to 0, we're actually going to get the weapon index and we're going to check the length. And we're going to put that in so it goes to the last slot. From the false, we're going to lead into a branch. So we're going to put that into a branch. And then the false is also going to go in the branch. We're gonna on the condition will be the weapon weapon array. We're gonna do a get. We get the current weapon index. We're gonna equals, so double equals, and then leave it empty. So that's gonna go in. The false will be where you have your logic for the swapping the weapons. So weapon swap. The true will be a for loop with break. True. The last index will be the weapon length. Loop body will be a branch. The condition will be the weapon array. We'll get the current weapon index. We'll do a not equal like this. The true will go into the where you would do your weapon swap. Or print string. This is where we do weapon swap. Weapon swap. And then that will lead back into the break. The false, we will get the current weapon index and we will minus. So 2 minus decrement int. Put that in. And then we will do a branch. We will check if this is greater than the length of this again. If it is, we will set the current weapon index to 0. It will loop back on itself. So this is everything. If I now play, a better way of showing this. So if I scroll up, we go from pistol to shotgun. If I scroll down, we go from shotgun to pistol. If I scroll down, we're only swapping between those two nodes. The way we would now use this with the buttons, so for example, keyboard 1, keyboard 2. You would get the weapon index and you would check, we would do a get, and then for this weapon 1 we would say 1. No, we would do 0 because the 0 is the first one. We would do equals, and then if it equals nothing, branch, we can do print string, so swap to weapon, and then that would swap it to the pistol. Oh no, actually, we would set the current weapon index to 0, then we would swap. If I do the shotgun, for example, we can just copy this. And I'll show you the, say this weapon index, we've nothing in 4, so we do that. Put that here and say no weapon. If I press 2, we have to swap to weapon. Why? Oh, I've done this wrong. This is the wrong way around. So false, that would be true. That would be false. There we go. So there's no weapon in number 4. But I know there is a weapon in 3. So if I put 3 and then press it, swap the weapon. So that's basically a very simple sort of weapon swap system. It only checks the valid spots to see if you have other weapon. to add the weapon I showed earlier. That's just a very simple way of doing it that will check the valid slots to make sure that you actually have the weapon in the slot. I'm going to expand on this and show the way I actually swap weapons and set the weapon system up. But for now, this is just a simple recreation of Half-Life. I think Quake does the same, and all those types of games. You can just swap between slots that you have. So, for example, if I now decide I want weapon 6 is weapon base, so I have the weapon in my inventory now. I press play, shotgun, weapon base, scroll back, shotgun, pistol, weapon base. That's how you can do it. I will expand on this more. If you have any questions, just leave a comment. Thanks for watching and see you next time.